Coming up on Hampton Roads Business Weekly, a local veteran trades in 26 years of military service for an indoor skydiving park.
Plus, a local tattoo parlor owner tells us about the importance of having an accountability partner and getting the most out of your company's Yelp page.
Hampton Roads Business Weekly starts right now. Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Cheryl Tan.
And I'm Zach Miller, and this is Hampton Roads Business Weekly. Opening and running your own business can be tough. That's why this week we are focusing on the resources available to help entrepreneurs right here in Hampton Roads.
This help can come in many different forms, from mentors to business coaches, or in the case of Trinity Tattoo, accountability partners. I spoke with Melissa Lukeson, owner of Trinity. We talked about the relationship she has with her accountability partner and how it helped turn her company into a 7-figure business. Melissa Lukeson, you and your husband Dave are co-owners of 2 tattoo studios in Virginia Beach, Trinity and Trilogy Tattoo, very successful companies. And we've talked with a lot of entrepreneurs who've mentioned that mentors have helped grow them.
Yes.
And you have too. But what I think is interesting is how over the course of 6 years, you are still in touch. So talk
Every
about
2 weeks.
that relationship, how you started it and why you decided in the very beginning to have a relationship with a mentor.
Oh, it's interesting. I had gone to an event. One of my employees at the time took me to just this workshop. And I said I would go with her, really to support her. And I'm sitting there saying, this guy better show me something different that I haven't already heard, because I was fortunate enough to work in an industry with GE. I've had amazing training and sales development with them. And so he did. And he apparently said the same thing about me. He said he knew immediately when I walked in the room, like, I better show this girl something different that she's not heard before. And then I hesitantly started to travel more in his circles. And then I knew that in order to stay on task for opening a business, I would have to hire someone. And so I chose him.
I think it's interesting too is that you made this connection and this realization before you opened the business. And how important was that to do that? You said a year ahead of time.
A year ahead of time, because I know me, and I know that I can just, and like most people, we can trudge through every single day, and we have these dreams and these hopes, but there's nothing holding us accountable to fulfilling them, and I'm that person. I won't hold myself accountable. I needed an accountability partner, somebody besides my husband. So when we first started meeting, I had homework every month. And we didn't meet twice a month. We just met once a month. And he said, you need to do this, this, and this. And then I'd come back, and there was so much pressure. Of course, I waited to the very last moment to do it. But I did it. And that's actually all of those steps that he led us on. I mean, from the first meeting of what's your date that you want to be open. And my husband broke into a sweat because he was, what do you mean? Only 10 months from now. And so, we negotiated and compromised, and then it happened, and then we just stayed with him. He's kind of like my business therapist.
And then a 7-figure business within 3 years. So something is working.
Absolutely.
What are your pieces of advice for people who are trying to figure out who to work with, how to find them, and what would be the right fit for the long term?
For the long term, I would say you need to not just hire. You get introduced to somebody, I think you need to know what your needs are. I think you need to be self-aware of your personality. I definitely know there are some business coaches that I could not work with because they won't maybe meet me in halfway, maybe with my personality and also my experience. I've got a vast amount of experience and leadership. So it takes a pretty good person to handle me, I guess you should say. But I think that you should do some research. Go to some meetings or workshops that coaches are putting on, because that is also what they do. It's not just necessarily one-on-one. A lot of them put on workshops. See if you think that this person speaks to you. There was something about him that spoke to me, and it works, and it works really well. And I would just encourage to do the research, and you might end up just like a therapist. You might end up with 2, 3, or 4 before you find the right one, but don't get discouraged just because you have a bad experience with one.
And you've said before that this was one of the main reasons for your success.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We would not be where we are if I didn't have the discipline to maintain it and he didn't have the discipline to put up with me.
So, congratulations
Thank
to
you.
you and to him. Melissa
Yes,
Luxon,
thank you very much. Thank you.
Coming up on Hampton Roads Business Weekly, I talk with Yelp's community director about how area businesses can get the most out of the online review site. But first, we want to hear from you. So if you have questions or comments during the show, tweet us at HRBizWeekly. We're back right after the break. Welcome back to Hampton Roads Business Weekly. We're here with Xerxes Nebong with Yelp to tell us a little bit about that platform and how you can use it to help grow your business. All right, so Yelp is one of the biggest social networks, social directories in the world.
Absolutely.
Well, first of all, what is Yelp?
Yelp is a website and mobile app that connects people to great local businesses.
So let's talk it through. So a business puts their business on there.
Or it could be me.
Okay.
Or it could be anyone.
A customer can put it on there too.
A customer could write the very first review and put a business on Yelp.
So it's very much review based.
Absolutely. Community based.
And so how does a review work?
In terms of just, I try business. So for example, I just tried a burger place before I came here today.
Yep.
Found it on Yelp. I could go on there. I could post a review and just share my experience. Good, bad, indifferent, whatever it is. Whatever I find that could be useful to someone else, I could share on Yelp.
Let's paint a story. So I download Yelp and I'm a consumer now and I'm looking for a place to go get breakfast. And I find a place, I see the reviews are good, and then I go and I eat there, and then I also leave a review. How can a business owner that whose business is on Yelp understand that that person is finding them through Yelp and then kind of communicating with them kind of in live in a live action instead of days later when that person leaves the review? How can they kind of make it more on demand and create those kind of relationships?
So when a business owner claims their business on Yelp, they have the ability to be notified when people leave reviews of their business. So a business owner, whether it's through an email that they receive as part of having the business owner account or even the app that they could download for it, they could reach out to the customer and they could respond publicly or privately and say, hey, thank you so much for coming out and trying us. We appreciate this. If there is a bad experience, it could just be a way for them to say, hey, we apologize for your bad experience. We were off that day. I encourage you to come back. So when people see this, they're able to see, oh, the business owner does respond to the reviews. They acknowledge both the good and the bad, and that could help other people from the outside that are looking into Yelp.
Instead of just kind of leaving them hanging.
Absolutely.
Which a lot of people do.
Yeah, because personally, there have been times, I go out to eat 2 to 3 times a day just because of the busy lifestyle that I have. And oftentimes business owners will respond to me. And it's nice to know that someone's actually looking out and they're going, okay, yeah, I know you didn't have the best experience and we certainly encourage you to come back. So that makes me think, okay, I'll give this guy another chance or this gal an opportunity.
Let's talk about best case scenarios for a business to use and kind of some worst scenarios that you've seen so that businesses can learn from that.
Best case scenario, so to take a step back at what it is that I do for Yelp. So in a very fun way, I eat, drink, shop, play, throw awesome parties, and I get paid to do it as titled Community Manager for Yelp. So best case scenarios, I work with a lot of business owners and they want the opportunity to showcase their brand and show the Yelp community what they do best. So oftentimes I'm working with these business owners and I'm working with them to host events so that they can showcase what they do best to the Yelp community. And I bring the Yelp community out there. So I tell them, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Business Owner, we're going to organize this event on this day. You put on your best show and I'm going to bring the people to you. So that's best case scenario. And in the case where, worst case scenario, business owner doesn't have great reviews, this is an opportunity for us to collaborate and for me to coach them through on how to use Yelp because people are out there reading their reviews and people are out there posting those reviews. So it gives me the opportunity to say, hey, here are other ways in which you could build your Yelp presence. And not all business owners respond to reviews. Some business owners will respond to reviews negatively, so I'm coaching them through that so that we could help improve their star rating so that on the surface, other people want to go in there and try them out.
So if I am watching this right now, how do I find out if my business is on Yelp or not?
You could just go to Yelp, type in the search bar, XYZ business, whatever city that you're located in, do a search, and you should be able to find it. If you're not able to find it, there's a feature where it says add your business on Yelp.
And so you just go through that, and then start getting people to kind of review your business as they go through.
Absolutely. So to talk on that for a bit, when a business owner wants to get reviews, it's important for them not to just say, hey, write a review about me. Because really what they're really asking is, hey, write a 5-star review about me.
Right.
So what I encourage business owners to do, just like everything else, if you have a Facebook logo or Twitter logo on your business card, add the Yelp logo to that. And I see that all the time. I go to a restaurant, I look at the menu, I see the logos. It's a nice reminder for me to say, hey, you know what, while I'm here, I'll like their Facebook page, and if I do a tweet, I'll shout them out, and then while I see the Yelp logo, I'll check in, I'll add a photo, I'll add a tip, and I'll review them afterward.
So really leveraging the platform to enhance kind of the customer experience.
Absolutely. And that helps other people read about that. And when they see these great things on Yelp, they're able to make decisions about where to spend their money, and hopefully with the businesses that embrace it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
We have more Hampton Roads Business Weekly coming up, including my trip to iFly Virginia Beach. But first, get ready for another Zack Hack.
So you're a business owner and you have a Facebook page. Awesome. It's a great way for you to get more leads into your business funnel. But what do you do when someone tags a person onto a post that you have posted? Well, this week's Zack Hack is simple. All you have to do is that person who was tagged in your post, reach out to them both online, but then individually, and create a relationship with that person, because likely the person that was tagged in your post has a lot of interest in what your business is doing. That's this week's Zack Hack. For more information, head on over to startwithhatch.com.
So often on Hampton Roads Business Weekly, we talk about resources for new entrepreneurs, for companies trying to grow, and for service members transitioning out of their military careers. Well, today we're excited to talk with Bob Pizzini, the CEO of iFly Virginia Beach, about his successful transition. Bob, thanks so much for talking with us today.
Thank you, Cheryl. It's an honor to be on your show.
And thank you for your service. You spent 26 years in the Navy in the explosive ordnance disposal community, in the EOD community. How did you know you wanted to move into entrepreneurship?
I would say the decision came late in my career, but after 26 years of doing things a certain way, you kind of realize that post-military career, if you own your own business, then you can do things the way you want to do. So that kind of helped shape things a little bit.
What kind of resources were available to you when you made that decision, and what were the most helpful for you in that choice?
So the biggest resource I had, I think, was my military career, especially being in the community, the EOD community. And I felt that that could easily transition into an entrepreneurial type of environment, and I've seen many of my peers do it over the years. Mm-hmm. And so it's almost a natural transition, I think, for a lot of people who come from the background that I came from. Mm-hmm. But more directly, when I looked at the local area and how am I going to become a business person in the local community, I really looked towards the Chamber of Commerce, the Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce, and their Small Business Development Center. At the time, although I was very good at processes and programs and getting things done, I really didn't know what business was all about. Mm-hmm. Spreadsheets and profit and loss statements and balance sheets. And so the Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce helped me put things in motion to a large extent.
So you had the idea when you took that class with the Chamber of Commerce. How did you get that idea for iFly, and why was it iFly and not a retail store or a contracting business, something like that?
Yeah, so one of my last jobs in my military career was to facilitate training for the EOD forces on the East Coast, and it was airborne training and underwater or diving training. And in the process of facilitating airborne training, we would use these indoor skydiving facilities around the country. And we would always go conduct our training mission, come back to Virginia Beach, and the discussion always was, why isn't there an indoor skydiving facility in Virginia Beach? And I didn't think too much about it until the day I knew I was going to end my career. It was retirement time, and then I started thinking a little bit more about it and made a few phone calls and 5 short years later, we opened our doors.
5 years is an interesting thing because I know you left the military in 2010 and iFly opened in 2015. So 5 years you were in that planning phase. How did you maximize that time and how did you make this dream happen?
Well, like you hear most people who started successful businesses say, the blood, sweat, and tears, the sweat equity, the long nights, the spending money on courses and on consultations and things that there's no guarantee you're going to get a return on that. But I was just such a true believer in this business, in this location, that I was willing to invest a considerable amount of time and all the financial resource I had to get a business plan that was acceptable to an investor and to a banker.
Right. Last question then is, what kind of advice would you give for someone who was you years ago, somebody in the military transitioning into a business career? What would you give as far as advice?
I would say, first of all, recognize your skill set. Recognize that over a career in the military, you have learned how to accomplish great things, mainly in a team setting, but occasionally your individual contribution to that team is key to the team getting things done. So recognize that you have done great things in the past and you can do big things in the future, just applying that model of where you came from. The other thing I would say is you really have to be a true believer. You have to believe in your vision more than anybody else, and you have to be able to convince people that there's a good return on investment. There's a difference between being passionate and loving the concept and making the concept profitable. I just didn't see any logical reason why iFly Virginia Beach Indoor Skydiving would not be a great thing for the city of Virginia Beach and a profitable business. And so the negative input and the negative commentary, it served well to get this mission accomplished.
And here it is. Bob Pizzini, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Welcome back. We conclude our look at the resources available to Hampton Roads entrepreneurs with Start Peninsula, an annual event that gives those with business ideas and inventions guidance and in some case funding. I spoke with Tom Spaltoff, the owner of Sponsored By, a new company that got its beginnings with Start Peninsula. Take a look.
All right, Tom, you started Sponsored By about 12 months ago by attending one of the Build a Company in a Weekend competition, Start Peninsula. So in 20 seconds or less, what is Sponsored By?
Sponsored By is a local fundraising network. It brings local merchants together to offer electronic gift cards for use by fundraisers, for nonprofits as fundraisers.
Okay, and so you are 3 or 4 months into this, still day job. You figure out that your proof of concept, your minimum viable product isn't something next.
Right.
But you love this idea and that you really want to get it to the market. You love helping people in this need. So now we're about, 8 months down the line now.
Yeah.
What have you done in those 8 months? And how are you making traction?
So really it was over the summer that, it's like hill climbing. You realize you're on the wrong hill, you got to go down the hill and then find the right hill to climb.
And that sucks. No one wants to have to go all the way up to figure it down. They'd rather just do this thing and hope that
you want to be right the first time. And the reality is, we're building new businesses. We're talking about doing things differently, new. You're going to be wrong a little bit. And you're going to have to be willing to say, okay, that was wrong, but I still believe in what we're trying to accomplish here. So I came back to it. It took probably a couple of months to just sort of regroup, re-energize. I repurposed the proof of concept. I was able to still reuse enough of what we had originally developed and put it in right. And now the merchant traction is great. I mean, even this morning when we talked to 1 Million Cups, and these folks were saying, look, that's great, but you're not even charging enough. You need to charge more money for this. For merchants to say that, as opposed to the feedback I got the last time around, that's very reassuring to hear. So, where I am now in terms of getting those merchants on board and getting them signed up, it's happening. They seem open to the model. I've got the fundraisers lined up. The proof is in the pudding, right? What happens in the next couple of months will really determine the course for the next year.
We've talked a lot on this show about the resources available in Hampton Roads for new businesses. And it seems like you're one of those businesses that have gone through multiple steps of those resources. If the resources weren't here,
how and where would your business be? And how did you find the resources so that you could
Yeah.
do the things?
I wouldn't be doing it. I mean, there's no question that the help and mentorship and guidance that I've gotten from the folks I've met at Start and the connections that Tim has helped through the Launchpad to get to me have put me where I am today. There's simply no way I could have gotten here. I would have gotten discouraged. I wouldn't have seen through the clouds to something else, and I would have quit. I believe that.
So something that a lot of entrepreneurs face, but not a lot of people realize before they get into it, is the emotions, the roller coaster ride of being a business owner, being an entrepreneur. How have you challenged, the emotions and gotten through that when, you've gone up that hill and found out that, actually, I need to go back down that hill to get on this path. How do you get through those things?
It's the support of the mentors and the advisors, folks like Tim, my family, right? I mean, they believe in what I'm doing as well. So
How much do you tell your family?
I tell them things. I mean, I don't tell them everything. It's muddy, right? I mean, there's a lot of stuff we do that.
A lot of things you don't want people to know.
And that's what's so great about being here in a Launchpad is we have this community of people that are all going through those uncomfortable, sometimes discouraging things, and we help each other. We help each other keep our chin up and stay the course.
So at the end of the day, find communities and the resources that can help you.
It's invaluable. The lows are low. I mean, especially for me, I've got a million other things I could be doing. I could be hanging out with my kids. I could be spending more time, doing Boy Scout stuff, whatever. But this is important. This is something that I believe in, and I think will be great.
Awesome, Tom. Thank you so much. Sponsored by.
My pleasure.
That wraps up another edition of Hampton Roads Business Weekly. Like us on Facebook and Instagram at HR Business Weekly.
There, you will find different segments from previous shows, plus some great behind-the-scenes pictures and videos. For Hampton Roads Business Weekly, I'm Zach Miller.
And I'm Cheryl Tan. We'll see you next week.
Hampton Roads Business Weekly, sponsored by Regent University and produced by ABC 13.